The valley of Jammu and Kashmir is lined with rolling, white-tipped mountains and laid with clear blue waters and green grass. In stark contrast to the valley's captivating beauty is the violence and suppression of its people by the government of India. In the past half-century, control over the J&K territory has sparked 3 wars between India and Pakistan. As for the Kashmiri people, their desire is simple: to live in peace and to gain self-determination. However, several generations of Kashmiris have all their lives yet to see a day without militarization. Kashmir is the most highly militarized region in the world, with a soldier-to-civilian ratio of 1:15. In the course of the occupation of Kashmir, various human rights violations have been perpetrated by the Indian government as a means of suppressing dissent in the valley. The Kashmiri people have been harassed, tortured while in detention, killed in extrajudicial executions, custodial violence, and fake encounters, buried in unmarked mass graves, raped, and illegally detained. Among the myriad human rights violations perpetrated against the Kashmiri people, enforced disappearances has been one of the cruelest tools of violence and oppression. Since the beginning of the 1989 conflict between the Kashmir liberation fighters and the Indian military, there have reportedly been 8,000 cases of enforced disappearances. The massive scale by which the Indian government practices enforced disappearances in Kashmir has left a trail of grieving, impoverished, and traumatized family members who are clueless about the fate or whereabouts of their disappeared loved ones.
It was about 2 a.m. on April 11, 1997, and we were already sleeping when the army came and knocked on our door. They called out all the members of our family on the veranda and then dragged us into a room. My mother-in-law resisted, so they started to lash us. They locked us up in a room until 4 a.m. I looked out from the window and saw the army men taking my husband towards the main road. I jumped from the window and started to run after them. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law also followed. The army men told us to go home, but we still followed them, so they started to lash us. We resisted. My sister-in-law caught hold of an army man by his collar and he smacked her hands severely. We reached a forked road and saw that they had vanished. We lodged an FAR and came to know he is at Dori camp. After a month, the army men took him away. We searched for him everywhere for at least 2 years without rest.
The Association of Parents of Disappeared Persons, or APDP, has conducted a research titled Half Widow, Half Wife, wherein 1,500 women were estimated to have lost their spouses to enforced disappearances. These women identify themselves as half-widows due to the uncertainty of the fate of their spouses. These half-widows are deemed ineligible for pensions and other relief from the government, exacerbating further the economic scourge of the loss of their family's breadwinner.
My children would have been great with their father's support. A child's life is half ruined if he or she has no father. In our society, a father is more important than a mother. I can't even talk about my children's education. My husband was very keen and ardent to get his children very good education. He was often telling he will send his lone son abroad for higher study provided he is alive. He used to say that daughters would study here in Kashmir. He was very eager to get good education to his children. We never celebrated any festive occasion because we are not happy. When my kids don't have their father with them, how can they celebrate? I still can't accept the thing that my husband is not alive. I always keep looking at the entrance that maybe he is walking towards us. I request the government to inform us whether my husband is alive or they have killed him. Even if they have killed him, they can't disappear his dead body. My heart always aches for him. Even if I take great care of his children, they still miss their father. Now his wife has no one to support who will come to his support. If someone would pay her 4,000 or 3,000, she would not get compelled to beg for support from his brother-in-laws. I hope it does not happen, but she may be deprived of her husband's property share any time. If this ever happen, where will she go for seeking support? Those who have done this to my son should have kept some support for his family. Even we had filed the case in the court, nothing happened. As a result, women and their children suffer from abject poverty. The government does not issue them death certificates, which throws them into a limbo of civil recognition. Being in this limbo deprives them of access to social services normally provided by the government for widows, such as pensions and insurances. Zainab is one of about 1,500 half-widows in Kashmir. Since neither the fate nor the whereabouts of the husband have been established,
the culture of impunity is deeply entrenched in Kashmir. Of more than 8,000 cases of enforced disappearances, around 1,000 have been submitted by the APDP to the State Human Rights Commission and the Jammu and Kashmir High Court, but the government has turned deaf ears on the plight of the families of the disappeared. So far, investigation on these cases have yet to begin. The Indian government has likewise passed security legislation like the Disturbed Areas Act, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, and the Public Safety Act, which gives military and police forces special powers to suppress insurgency and maintain a fortified presence in the region. This justifies violent means such as enforced disappearances and other grave human rights violations in the name of security. Organizations of families of the disappeared, like APDP, have been tireless in calling for justice to be served against the perpetrators of enforced disappearances. These organizations allow them to draw strength to continue struggling for truth, justice, and the end of human rights violations in Kashmir.